So here's what I ended up with. Sheet of ABS plastic. I first drilled these holes all the way through, and then drilled holes outside of that so I could just run a zip tie through. So there's just 3 zip ties holding the base shaker to this thin piece of ABS plastic. We got the wires coming off. We'll deal with that. The first thing I really want to do is just mock this up and tie the wiring in, because I'm not exactly sure where I want this to sit on the back. And that would be up pretty high. And I think for the mock-up purposes, all I'm going to do is something like that. I think we'll just try this. It's a little bit longer. I have a feeling I'm going to need to, no, I don't have a feeling. I'm going to have to extend those wires. They're not going to reach down below. And let me show you where those have to go after I spin this isolator back. Oh man. Okay. That's tight. All right, so get a better idea. Here's the whole rig. Underneath is the cutting board with the bigger base shaker, which is only a BST2, not even the real big one. So the plan is just to pull off of the wires there, which are on the front side. So we'll have to extend from there up to around there. So let me get some wire and get that all tied in, and then I'm just going to electrical tape it here and see how that feels, and then we could go a little lower, see how that feels, and maybe even down to about there. But we'll start up high. Really what I'm trying to accomplish is just spread out that base shaker effect that I get right now while sitting in the seat. I just wanted to extend that feel. So let's extend some wires and we'll be back. So that was kind of a pain, but it worked. Extended the wire from the other base shaker, and for the first mock-up, I'm just gonna slide this about there. Let's plug it all in, see how it works. First impressions, it feels no different at all. So let's get on track here. I'm gonna pick something at random and just drive around. I should be able to feel it mostly with the gear shifts are pretty strong. I'm really only running 3 effects on my base shakers: road impacts, road texture, and gear shifts. This is really tough to kind of illustrate in a video, the feel of the haptics, but as I downshift, I can definitely feel it in my middle of my back, right where that base shaker is, which makes sense. I was kind of hoping the plastic would disperse that a little bit more. I might play around with that, but I think, I mean, it definitely works. And I might need to change the balance because the one under my seat now, I'm not feeling as much. Let's see. Let's make sure I'm feeling something here. Yeah, I'm feeling most of it now. It's like a little too strong in the upper back. Almost like that one's getting too much energy. The thing is, I ran these in parallel, so I cannot tune them to tune the upper one down or the lower one up. They're on the same amplifier channel, and I don't really want to add another amplifier just to add this shaker. So I'm going to figure out just physically placing them if I can kind of mitigate that. What I might do is lower this back transducer. We're going to lower it some, and I might even double up on the plastic and see if that kind of helps disperse the haptic feedback. So stand by. All right, let me take you behind the rig here. It's all still plugged in, so I didn't want to mess with it. So I first had it right around that top strap here, and what I did is added the second sheet of that plastic, because when I bought it, it came with two. So I doubled up the plastic, moved this down a little bit, and it's kind of sitting on another strap that's behind it. And then I added some electrical tape to kind of hold it in. I think, sorry about going out of focus there, when I'm actually sitting in the rig and my back is planted back onto it, that pressure is going to really hold it. It's not going to go anywhere. So let's get all of this back in place and try it again. Well, that actually feels a little more snug than it did before. Interesting. Let's get back on the track. I like that better already. It definitely is transferring more of that energy now to the upper back. I feel like it might be losing too much though with that on the bottom. Like this feels like it's giving more energy than the bottom bass shaker. So I don't know. It's not a bad thing, it's just different. So I think I'd prefer if I could reverse that. So let me do a little more. Let me check a couple of things here. I learned some things. So first of all, we got to learn a little bit about current and electricity here. This BST2 speaker that I have already, the existing bass shaker that's under the seat, is 4 ohms. The speaker that I just bought, the TT25, is 8 ohms. When you mix those together, it's not good. Well, it's not that it's not good, but that is the new load, 2.67, which can be really bad for your power amp. So you can't wire those in parallel, or you probably shouldn't. I went back and wired them in series, and in series, a 4 ohm and an 8 ohm speaker becomes a 12 ohm load. So now I'm going to test that, which I'm sure will be much safer on the equipment. Then we'll see how it feels and if I have to make adjustments from there. The balance still seems weighted toward the one on the back rather than the one under the seat. It's a couple days later, and this is what I came up with. I actually tried a couple other things on this install, and what I'm finding is with this thin ABS sheet, which is actually 2 sheets together, most of what I'm feeling is very centrally located on my back, so that's really hitting me. So what I did is I added some basically bubble wrap and Amazon packaging to try to disperse the energy coming off of this thing a little bit wider, and it's also now behind the strap of the Playseat Trophy. Let's move back out here a little bit. So it's on the outside of that pretty thick strap, and then this lumbar strap under here. So it's on the outside. So what I'm trying to do is just essentially tune this a little bit to soften the effect of this and enhance the effect of the bass shaker on the bottom that's on a, I don't know what that is, 7 or 8 millimeter thick plastic cutting board. So we're gonna plug this all in again and see how it feels. It already feels pretty good. We're gonna turn the full volume, turn the volume of the knob sound audio interface slash power amplifier up just a little bit. But most of this I can get without even driving on track here. So I'm just going to park and shift back and forth here. And I would say I'm feeling it here a little bit more intense than I am on the bottom of the seat. So I'm going to try one more thing here, and that is this piece of foam. I'm going to see if that softens things enough. I want to feel it, but I don't want to mostly feel it as a thud in my lower back. And that's extremely easy to just slide in there. Yeah, I'm still feeling it transfer surprisingly through the frame, unless that's actually the lower one just transferring now. Yeah, I can feel that one. That feels pretty even. Park it again here. And the effect I'm going through for, I'm just doing the gear change right now for the purposes of adding a third bass shaker. This worked. I'm gonna run this as a mock-up for a while with just probably leave the foam in or play around with no foam or loosen this up or maybe adjust it and play with that for a while until I get the position right. Then my next step for the rig is going to be probably do a total teardown and redo the cable management like I mentioned earlier. And at that point, I'll figure out how I want to permanently mount the bass shaker on the back and redo all of my cabling. And I'm considering moving the bottom bass shaker that's currently on the completely underside of the rig to the top side of the pedal tray. I think that will transfer the energy a lot better, more efficiently, but it might also be too localized and pinpoint, and I really want these effects to feel more like the whole thing is vibrating the whole rig. I've toyed around with the idea of doing 4 corners, and I've decided I'm not going to do that. I don't think that you get enough of a focused haptic feedback for that to make sense. So I'm just going to go with this front rear setup. So if you have any questions about this, drop them in the comments. And I think the next video I do is probably going to be tuning those 3 effects. We'll go into detail in Simhub and show you how that works. Peace.